G'day viewers, I found a shot on my home round Flyback. It was just right there where those two bubbles are. Try and blow those bubbles out there, so otherwise it'll jeopardise the ability to insulate this thing. I managed to separate the two arc points away from each other. Got the arc short out contact points, spread them apart, and just painted some of this stuff. Clear polyurethane for doors, windows, trim and furniture. His varnish should be pretty good, washes off with water and everything. Let that soak into the windings and hopefully it fixed it. This one's for Anthony, high 1 voltage on all, so I give this a good clean up for you, mate. Look at those sexy insulators, as you would say. I did a little reference here, the ESR meter, 0.4 ohms. It still measures exactly the same, and the microfarad rating is microfarad spec is still spot on. So been studying up on these capacitors, and these particular types of caps, although not pulse rated, they can take quite a hammering. Now my ZVS is pretty much babying it, so running power in this net with a ZVS isn't going to blow it anytime soon. Worst case scenario, in a big overload like in a substation, they should just blow their internal fuses. That's it. That's the worst thing that's going to happen. And you have a slight reduction in the output power, and that's it. Just keep on acting as a capacitor as it normally would. And that's the like a lead seal there. All these PFC capacitors have that, because these are normally incinerated when they're disposed of and scrapped. And that just blows out, and the faradol dries up. The faradol is a non-toxic, which means it's obviously a non-PCB. And it's a biodegradable substance, so it's perfectly safe. It's not electrolytic, it's an what was it, polypropylene film, I think it is. So it's a proper high quality stuff. Yeah, it's a very have a very high reliability rate, very low failure rate, so this isn't going to blow up with a ZVS. There's no way in the world it can. It's yeah, it's only getting nursed, as I was saying. I gave the whole thing a good going over with a gurney. That just cleaned it right up. Nice, clean, smooth, shiny insulators. And those are the same bushings that Photon or Andy uses on his transformer. You see it's welded in there. Here's one here like a plate that this welded into, and the plate welded around there. So these are bushings. I don't know where they got them from, but they're pretty universal bushing. Very nice looking bushings actually. They look good when they're all cleaned up. To rest 01B 01, which means 2001. The capacitor was made. Yeah, it's actually quite fun to blow stuff up with. Revamped my ZVS, stuck on a nice bit of plastic to hold everything together so wires don't break, and put this Changshu Conquer Flyback on there. It's actually performing quite well now. I've also made myself another ZVS setup, a nice little 1 power by a 24 volt high current transformer. This one's much better, looks a lot more professional. I kept the these heat sink pads off this electronic ballast. You get these little pads in CD-ROM drives and everything. They're like heatsink paste, but they're the next best thing. They're very squishy. You don't have to do the component down tight, and that'll insulate and provide really good heat transfer. And the first time I put this in together, I forgot to put the insulating thing on because they were both shorting, so I put that on last. And sure enough, it worked the first go. Originally I put yyaaayy P250s, but before I finally clicked to put the insulation on, I went and swapped them with yyaaayy P260s. Much more professional looking circuit. That doesn't get very warm, so the hot glue seems to hold. Nothing's getting warm, except for the rectifier. I might have to find a bigger bridge rectifier, I think. I would sprag proper really good capacitor, or tested good. I've connected all the microfarad cap sections into one, so it works as one big filter cap. It gets rid of most of the ripple, but still got a little bit there through the arc. Good capacitors these. If you find a spray capacitor worth, if they test good, they're worth using for things like this. yyaaayy bought this company out now. They're an American company. And one of the best in electrolytic capacitors you can get. Little inductor. That's that transformer out of that old bloody stereo, which I got with that Mitsubishi TV circuit board and transformer. I didn't have any use of this transformer because it was too high a voltage for any of my stuff, so it works bloody good for the ZVS. It's a nice little neat setup. Got the yin for flyback there, or the sting for, because if you touch one of the pins accidentally, the internal the capacitance in there when it's turned off. If you don't discharge this after you turn it off, it will sting you. So this one is nicknamed Sting for. So bitten me a couple of times with these little capacitors stored between these two pins. Soldered the lug on there, crimped it on so I don't have to keep cutting the wire every time it breaks and burns out. Now I've got two good circuits to charge that big cat. Yeah, here's a much better looking setup here. Much better looking setup. Now they get easier and easier to build as you go along. Once you do it first time, you get it easier and easier through your head and it's easier to build. Anyway, let's see if we can pop some more stuff. Wonder what I could use as a bobbin. I cut the handle section off this milk bottle and it, with a snug fit, makes a great bobbin for this flyback core. And I'll wind this wire here off this beta mix motor winding. Just the ends pop like a fuse, so most of it's still okay. So I'll wind that on there, on that bobbin, stick it on that transformer. And this time I'm going to soak it in bloody that wood varnish. Because yeah, if you're going to try this, make sure you soak it in varnish, insulate everything, otherwise as soon as you turn it on it's going to arc over and it's all gone. All your work gone. So I'll find a nice drill bit to fit this into, because it very tightly fits on there. Gotta shave a tiny bit out of it and wind this on the drill and let it soak in the varnish for a bit. That will also help to bond it together too. I should get quite some good performance out of this wire. My main winding's all dried up. I just put another coat in it. That's all nice and thick now. Let that completely cure before I give it another power up. Hopefully it's fixed. Let's see how this one here goes. This has had some lacquer on it. And let that dry. That's all been soaked in. I put some PTFE thread tape on there to hold everything together. Let's see how it arcs. Hopefully it's going to work. Let's see if it works now. Mustn't be getting enough volts out of this one. No. Dead. Not getting anything else whatsoever. Alright, let's try another winding. Bloody cheap magnet wire. It's hot, it's shorted out. Cheap magnet wire that. Insulation doesn't even hold nothing up. It got warm, so that one is out of the question. Okay, viewers, let's give this a go now. My long connections there are pretty compromising the drive a bit. No, not working. Oh, that's pants. Oh, I cleared the short, obviously not. The drive was alright, it's just not giving me any results. No, well, that is absolute utter pants. Disappointed with that. Oh, I thought that would have worked so good. It's a bit warm, yeah. Not much though. Bugger. Absolute bugger. That would have been a good transformer had it had worked. Ah well, experimenting, that's what it's all about. Anyway, that varnish is pretty good at holding the windings together too, so it's just almost as good as epoxy. yeah, I think that'll be enough for now, viewers. Thanks for watching. More cat pops will be coming in the weekend if I get a chance.